on the team concept, trying to get schools within a school. We are further developing our social curriculum. We're working on Project Wisdom social curriculum that we're using to enhance our morning announcements and things along those lines. The other thing about personalizing learning environment, you know that 2008, 7-8, the handbook was like this. Last year, of course, we revised our handbook completely, a lot of kid-friendly language. We also added the faculty binders, and when you open up the faculty binder, you'll note that in these two plastic sleeves, this is the school to watch criteria that comes from Breaking Ranks that bases our school improvement plan. That actually, this is the filter that I challenge all the teachers and even myself, that if we're making any decisions in the best interest of kids, that this is the filter that it runs through, these criteria that is set up with regard to all aspects of our school. So again, that's the 09-10. I don't know if, again, the 10-11 improvement plan is a lot of the goals are ongoing. I don't know if there's any specific questions with regard to 09 or 010, or is this the proper time to go into 10-11? You know, it's kind of blending in.
Most of the goals are, and I read through this, and it seems like most of the goals are the same. They're ongoing.
Right.
This might be a good time to ask a few questions, and if you want to conclude with some specific things for 10-11, that'd be great.
Okay, sure.
I did have one question, and I've actually spoke to a couple of the school board members about this and some folks in the community, and hopefully you can set my mind at ease here. I still have a concern about study hall periods.
Yep.
And the number, how many are we having per week? Is there an average per student per grade, or how does that work, and why are we still having study periods, I guess, are the two questions.
Well, the quick and easy answer to why we have study halls is that we don't, in our general arts blocks, so again, typical student, a 7th grade, 6th grade student has a 6-period day, 4 academics, math, English, science, social studies, as you would expect, and 2 general arts periods. And in our general arts program, we offer art, music, computers, PE/health, and since we have just those few general arts classes, when I take 200 students in a class, grade 6, and I divide them up into those areas, I end up with 3 groups of students with no place to go, because we don't have theater arts, we don't have tech ed, we don't have a foreign language program in grade 6, we don't have family and consumer science, we
also got rid of that international cultures program that we had that was also a general arts program, and we disbanded that a couple of years ago.
Because you guys were up against the hard budget cuts there, right?
Right.
So it's really about taking 200 kids, breaking them into 8 groups. So again, you're talking 23, 24, 25 kids and then when you send them off to the areas we have 3 groups that have no place to go. So then they end up in a study hall. The study halls are 22-to-1. They're on grade level in classrooms with subject area teachers. Most of the time they're with their own academic team teachers, and we are instructing those teachers, over the shoulder check-ins, making sure that the students are using the times constructively. And some of the feedback I get with regard to study halls from parents is that they are really kind of a godsend, because the kids are using them for meaningful, preparation and study and getting their homework done. So it's focused. It's certainly not what I would describe as a free period. But when I look at the matrix of the schedule, every time I see a study hall, I see it as a placeholder. So one thing we're toying with this year is we're toying with once, twice a month, on a Friday. This Friday, for example, we will pull 6th grade students together from the study halls to allow all the 6th grade teachers to meet in a grade level meeting to look at, among other things, some of the MCAS data. When we do that, by pulling 6th grade or any of the grades together, we're looking at offering seminars. So we have a couple of things in mind. I have some of the North Reading police who have done the DARE program in the past, maybe coming up and offering, a one-day seminar to groups of kids in grades 6, 7, or 8. We have the president of the Reading Co-op Bank has talked to me about offering a personal finance course. Now, he can't actually come up here and teach for, 10 weeks, but he could come up and offer something along the lines of just a seminar a couple times a year. We're looking at, I was talking to Jen O'Leary, talking about having her come in. Clearly that's changed, but, so we're looking at doing some of that with our study hall time. The other thing is that anytime we have an assembly where we do bring kids together for presentations, we generally pick on the general arts block, and that's because three groups of kids are in study halls. So,
If we don't have the curriculum offerings, then there's really
right.
no place else to put the students.
But as soon as somebody says to me, do you want to put standalone health in, I know exactly where it would fit. I know where the kids are, how many kids would be there, and how to get the whole grade level to go through it. So the matrix is there. We just have to be creative in how we can fund other course offerings. So.
Other comments or questions?
Well, I'm very happy that the mission statement has been well received and being
Thank you.
used. That's
Yeah.
great. It was a fantastic change. So
Yeah, I think it's it's inclusive, and it says, I think, what it should say in
Yes.
terms, especially for middle, we're trying to accomplish in middle education. I also think some of the other things you've put in place, I've heard nothing but good things about the school within a school and moving the 6th grade. I also understand you're changing how classes change, and there's not as much congestion in the hallways because you don't have all 600 kids or 650 kids trying to change at the same time. So I think a lot of the changes that have been put in place have been helpful to fostering a better education at the middle school level.
Yeah, we still have a few challenges ahead of us, and we're determined to meet them all. So,
Well, what would you say your biggest challenges are, for this year and the next few years?
I think probably first on my priority list is that hopefully we'll be able to come up with a collaborative leadership model here in the middle school, and that would have team leaders and curriculum, because again, when we're talking about simple things as bell schedules and how we might deal with study halls or whatever, we need to have that representation from all 3 grade levels, as well as general arts, and certainly as we head into AYP discussions and MCAS and other data, we need those curriculum leaders to again help us guide our instruction and assessment. So that would be my top priority. Again, we could come here, any principal could come here with a list of I need a lot of money for this and this. I'd like to add more courses to the general arts. I will be coming forward with a proposal as early as October for 5 new student activity and clubs that we're going to try to introduce this year. We're trying to enhance our after-school program. We also have got a couple of things going for before-school program. Those things are very important to our kids, to really get them invested. But we're here for instruction and curriculum, and we need some a real good leadership team here at the middle school to help guide that instructional best practices. So that would be number 1 on my list.
I think the message is heard. Hopefully we're going to make progress on that issue shortly and help you out with that leadership aspect.
That's good.
Any other questions or comments? Great.
Very
Good job, John.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Excellent
Appreciate
job.
it.
Mr. Bernard, John number 2, principal of the high school, with your plan.
Good evening, everyone.
How you doing, John?
I'm well, thank you. How are you all?
Good.
Good. Well, thank you for the opportunity again to present the school improvement plan on behalf of our high school council. I would like to just very quickly mention the members of the school council who helped in drafting our last school improvement plan. Before Mr. Rosmerick moved on to become the headmaster at Lowell High School, he was a member of our school council. Mr. Campabasso is a teacher representative. Mrs. Colella, who has been on the council since before I became the principal in 2003, continues to be an active member of our school council. Mrs. Heather Metcalf as a parent representative. Laura McBride is a student representative, and Lauren McMullen. Mrs. Lauren McMullen is also a parent representative. So I'm thankful to them for their support and in advocacy of our initiatives at the high school to constantly be thinking about how we can do things better. I thought I would tonight speak about some of the needs that the council has identified in its last school improvement plan, which again is, you might remember, our plan is a 2-year plan. we made the decision long ago, at the suggestion of Mrs. Colella, that our plan be a 2-year plan so that we were always a fiscal year ahead of the budget process, so that if there were things that were included in the school improvement plan that required funding, that the school committee would have that information ahead of its budget cycle. So we have done that again. So what the plan that you have that I submitted last June is actually an updated plan that includes the 2010-11 school year and also a year out to the 2011-12 school year. And our work this year will include making updates to both of those years with a dominant focus on the 11-12 school year, because the obvious thing of us being in the current year now, there's less to update. So for purposes of information, I think it's fair to say that the school council continues to express concern around the facility of the high school and what limitations there are because of our aging building. And while we do some very, very good work at the school, we think we could do even better if we had a more modern facility that helped to advance us technologically, and particularly in the area of science, where we are very, very limited, as you all know, in the availability of science labs. We also think that a new facility would lend itself to improvements in our athletic programs, because, again, facilities would lend themselves to advancing in athletics as well. Curriculum leadership, like Mr. Fauché said, I would say that's a very, very high priority for the high school. The school council has supported my desire to advocate for curriculum leadership at the building level, so we're hoping that something happens in that area soon. I've been fortunate to enjoy a great deal of support from the school council and ultimately then from all of you when I come annually with my presentation of the program of studies to add elective offerings for our students. And as you all know, we've added a number of them over the years. In fact, in preparation for tonight, I counted up that we have added 18 new courses since the 2004-05 school year. And I will be in this winter with no fewer than probably 5 requests for new courses for next year. So that's always an exciting thing. It's good to get teachers and students and working around courses of interest that we'd like to offer to our students and to develop those curriculum, and that will be happening fairly soon. We also, as a school council, advocate for the acquisition of technological upgrades. The last 2 years, we've been able to install 11 smart boards, bringing our total to 13 smart boards at the high school. And that has been a tremendous help to us, but we are looking to do even more in the coming years. So you will see in the school improvement plan the request for additional funding to help install smart boards at the high school. We've also gotten very good support for upgrading our textbooks and also acquiring new textbooks for new courses that we adopt. Marina Galato spoke about the We the People curriculum. You might remember last spring when I was in, that was a textbook that you all endorsed, and we've done that for sports and entertainment marketing, advanced placement psychology, and philosophy. So those, I think, are areas that are constantly on the agenda for our school council meetings, and they will be again this year. They're kind of the major overarching areas, I would say: technology, elective offerings, the building, staffing, and then the textbook upgrades to make sure that our textbooks are as current as they can be. Some of the things that I think we are most proud of in the last cycle of the school improvement plan are the addition of the elective courses. In addition to the ones I already mentioned, we have biochemistry at the honors level running this year. We have advanced placement psychology that's running. Junior-senior physical education was reinstituted this year. The introduction to philosophy and sports and entertainment marketing courses, very popular. 2 sections of philosophy, 3 sections of sports and entertainment marketing running this year, and they're pretty full sections in the high 20s each. So that's good. We like to see our students in those elective courses, things that they're interested in. I also think it's worthy to note that we moved to the leveling of the foreign languages this year for the first time, and while it's probably a little too early to tell what impact that's going to have, I think we can safely say that we expect that to have a very positive impact on student achievement, where we've now got the academic level and the honors level courses in foreign language. Similarly, extracurricular offerings, again, the school council is a strong supporter of student interest in extracurricular opportunities. We've added 14 clubs over the years. Since 2003, we've gone from